Hey everybody, Musashi X here. Do you like some cool news? That's good to hear. Do you want to hear some bad news? Of course you don't. But I'm sure you will anyway because, well, people sure love to hear about train wrecks. Let's do this. If this is your first time in the channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button, as well as follow me on social media. And feel free to also share this channel to other people that may be interested in my content. Your support would be greatly appreciated. So let's go to the nitty-gritty, shall we? In this case, we're going to start with some... well, I wouldn't exactly call it bad news, but rather something that is train wreck-like. Of course, if you can tell from the thumbnail of this video, I did put the G4 logo on it, as well as a PNG file of Jackie Chan feeling what the heck, you know? And the reason why is because, well, ever since G4 came back last year, at first it got me excited. But then when I started looking at the channel, it feels rather, shall we say, let's just say it's not the same as the old G4 was. In fact, you could say that everything that you see in that G4 YouTube channel feels a little more forced, if that makes sense. Not to mention the fact that normally I don't bring any drama into my videos, but it's just something that I just gotta bring up, especially with the most recent controversy of, well, this one Twitter user who goes by the name of Frost or Frostikin or whatever. Apparently she just went all bonkers and stuff in this one G4 show, spreading some misinformation that caused some of the staff members that are in that same show with her to be kind of cringed by it. One of them just happens to be Gerard from The Completionist, who seems so cringed on all the misinformation she's spreading and whatnot. I won't go into full detail about it. So you just watch Dreamcast Guy's take on it, and possibly other YouTubers that may have actually talked about that controversy. And the reason why I brought this up also is because, well, because of that controversy, it's like G4 is slowly forcing themselves to be irrelevant again, you know? Now what I mean is that G4 did shut down at first on 2014 when the ratings went down significantly to the point that the plug in the network just had to be pulled off. And when they came back, well, like I said, it just feels a little more forced. And because of the advent of YouTube and more people now doing online reviews, I just think this format of G4 is becoming rather unnecessary. However, the controversy doesn't stop there. There's also the fact that one of the VPs of the current G4, who used to be an ex-host himself, he started saying that if they don't like them, then don't watch them, which kind of means you're alienating the viewers that actually want to see G4 regain its former glory. However, hopefully there'll be more to this story than what I just hear. Now, as far as G4 goes, I just don't like how this current one goes. I mean, G4 is supposed to be a gaming-centric channel. And And I remember that I couldn't get good cable back in the day, when G4 was only exclusive to high quality cable and to like high quality cable services. So the closest thing I got was I get to see that it's like video game centric would be Tech TV. And Tech TV was a good channel all its own. There's like so many shows I used to like watching. Like there was Call for Help with, well, first it was Leo Laporte, then Chris Barillo, then back to Leo Laporte, but both hosts are really cool. There was also the Screensavers that also host Leo Laporte, along with others that whose names I forgot, and I forgot who the other co-host was with Leo Laporte. But overall, the cast was really cool. I know one other Screensaver cast member, Martin Sargent. He has this comedy show called Unscrewed, which is actually quite funny. I just don't remember if somebody actually saved some videos of it, because I couldn't find videos of it on YouTube. And of course, there's XPlay. However, long before it became Tech TV, it used to be ZD TV, and XPlay during that time was called GameSpot TV, which later became Extended Play, and then later XPlay. And it was a really good show, and it's great seeing hosts like Adam Sessler, who I've only met one time, and that was in the inaugural year of PAX South in, I think it was 2015. Yeah, 2015. I did meet Adam Sessler, and it's a really cool guy when I actually spoke to him though. He's surprised that I remembered what GameSpot TV was. And I remembered GameSpot TV very what's the word I'm looking for? All I can tell you is that I did remember XPlay when it was still called GameSpot TV, because it was from that show that I was introduced to the Sega Dreamcast. And then there's G4. G4 had so many good shows that there was no reason for G4 to actually merge together with Tech TV. In fact, I think that merger is what kind of killed it, because when they merged with Tech TV, a lot of the good shows that were on Tech TV, they end up getting cancelled, with XPlay being the only show being retained. Because G4 had some really good exclusive shows like Arena, Cheat, Icons, which is one of my favorite video game documentary shows, and of course Cinematech. Other shows in G4 that I enjoy watching as the years go by for that channel would be, actually it was from 2008 when I actually learned of what Sasuke was, which is called Ninja Warrior here in the West. And I'm gonna get this out of the way right now. I'm not knocking American Ninja Warrior. I thought the show was good though, but it doesn't have the same comedic value like the original show does, because the actual Ninja Warrior, Sasuke, I find it more enjoyable because the failures are a lot funnier, and of course there's that hilarious Japanese commentary. They sound so out of this world, and whenever a failure happens, the next thing that happens after that is that the subtitles come in, and and the Japanese commentary always have the last word on the contestant's failure. Same thing with a related show from Japan, which is Kiniko Bansuke, known here in the West as Unbeatable Bansuke, where after a contestant fails, the Japanese commentary will always have the last word in such a comedic fashion that I actually love that show. But as the years roll by, that's when the channel's quality starts to dwindle down, to the point that there are some shows that have no business being in that channel whatsoever. Like, say, oh, I don't know, Cops or Cheaters. Yeah, those two shows, they really have no business in G4. And I gotta say, those shows are the ones that killed that channel. But unfortunately, with this revived G4, it just doesn't feel the same. Not by a long shot. And I kind of feel for both Gerard, the completionist, as well as Scott the Woz, who is also on G4. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like their channels. In fact, I think it would have been a great idea if they didn't agree to join G4 to begin with. I mean, don't get me wrong, people wanted money and people needed to work for it, but the thing is, their channels are good enough as they are. They can gain more revenue doing what they do instead of having to, you know, agree to this G4 revival thing. But we'll have to wait and see, and time will only tell whether this G4 goes on or if this G4 will sink faster as it did when it revived itself. Well, now that we got the train wreck out of the way, it's time for the good stuff. Because 9 days from the time this video is uploaded, King of Fighters 15 hits store shelves. However, if you're getting the digital deluxe version of the game, you'll actually get 3-day access to the game. In this case, you'll be able to start the game as early as Valentine's Day. While for others like myself, because I already pre-ordered the Omega edition, which is physical by the way, that means I'll have to wait until the 17th of February to actually start the game. Which will leave me in a disadvantage when other players have already kind of got the mechanics down, which means if I start playing online, I know chances are I'm going to get my butt kicked. But, what can you do, you know? So anyway, as I was saying, all 39 characters have been revealed, and just recently, about a few days ago, there's a new trailer from SNK in which they're revealing 2 teams that are DLC. Yeah, but instead of having individual characters, they're actually going to have DLC as teams. And 2 of the teams, they've already been shown. In fact, I've already seen the trailers beforehand, and so did everybody else. I mean, I did watch everybody else's reaction videos, including one, Maximilian Dude, who was overly ecstatic as to who it was that showed up as DLC. And honestly, I would agree with him, because this is also in fact, one of the characters in that DLC is someone who should have been the core roster to begin with. In fact, let's say we play it, shall we? Starting video at 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, shatter expectations. So I'm gonna talk about that slogan later. So they're showing us now the DLC character roadmap, Team 1. Oh yeah, the fan favorite Rock Howard. Yeah, that's one character that should have been in the roster to begin with instead of relegating him to DLC again. And this guy has some new moves there. From Shining Knuckle to Raging Storm. He still has the Climax Neo Deadly Rave. It's still the same. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, the ending animation is different now. It's more of a screen nuke than him acting as if he's Mega Man using a Mega Buster. Okay, and we also have the returning Gato, who has not appeared in a KOF game since KOF 11. And he's also another good character to play in Gato Mark of the Wolves. He still has those really good kung fu moves, including that neck breaker he just did. And of course, let's see, his climax move, almost reminiscent of Spider-Man's Maximum Spider from Marvel vs. Capcom. And here we have another fan favorite from Garo, Jenny, who in terms of the King of Fighters games, her last two appearances would be King of Fighters 11 with Gato and one of the 3D games, King of Fighters Maximum Impact. Yep, hot-tempered as she is lovely. So yeah, Team Gato announced for next month actually. So Team 2. Yeah, if you can't already tell from the theme song, it's definitely Geese. And speaking of Geese, they have him on a suit. Billy Khan in a suit, also flashy. Oh, and Ryuji Yamazaki wearing his coat that he normally would remove in one of his intros, and he replaces the butler Hein from King of Fighters 14 as part of Team Southtown. And we got two more teams that will be revealed real soon. Team 3 in the summer and Team 4 in the fall. So yeah, there's a really cool trailer. Comes out on the 17th. So yeah, that's the day I'll be playing the game. Not 3 days early like everybody else would. And of course, there's the DLC costumes. There's Terry Bogart's Wild Wolf costume from Gato, as well as Leona's original costume from her debut in KOF 96, and yeah, the trailer ends there. And it's definitely going to be an interesting dynamic if Team Gato has some story cutscenes at all. Hopefully they do, because yeah, the thing about me is that I'm a very story-eccentric gamer. Not just on action-adventure games, not just on RPGs, but also on fighting games, because I do follow the mythos of Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, which in my opinion is the only fighting game series I know with the best mythos, except for the fact that I really hate the liberties that NetherRealm took on the Aftermath story, because that's when you notice that, because if you saw the Aftermath story, it was like a complete 180 than the original story of Mortal Kombat 11, and the true ending of Mortal Kombat 11 should have been that ending instead of actually expanding upon it. And hopefully, let's see, what else? Well, actually, before I get to that, Soul Calibur does have a good story, except for 5. I don't think I even need to talk about that. Just watch Matt McMuscle's video on it. But at least Soul Calibur 6 has a really good rebooted story, and the good part is that the DLC characters actually do have some story chapters to tell as well. Well, except for Harumaru from Samurai Showdown and 2B from Nier Automata, which is understandable. But hey, the fact that the DLC characters in Soul Calibur 6 actually have stories is way better than how Tekken 7 handled it, because in Tekken 7, all of the DLC characters that are in that game, except for Eliza, who actually has a story chapter of her own, the rest of the characters don't have any story chapters, which kind of sucks though, because I really want to know what their deal is in the story of Tekken 7, how it's actually going to be expanded, like say when Tekken 8 starts being in development. I mean, there's some characters that need some kind of story chapter to actually understand what is going on, and how would they expand upon that. Like, say, for example, Kunimitsu in Tekken 7, because it's not the same Kunimitsu as before. It's actually I think it's either daughter or granddaughter of the first one. I guess it's most likely a daughter. I don't remember her biography that much. and of course there's the Polish karate master, Lydia Sobieska. They didn't give her a story chapter at all, or the kickboxer Vakonram. He didn't get a story chapter either. All they did with these DLC characters is just bring them up, and that's very much it. So hopefully for King of Fighters 15, they all the teams would actually have story cutscenes, and hopefully each character, or rather each team, would have an ending as to what happens in the end. Especially in the case of Team Gato and Team Southtown, because see when you think of Rock Howard, you may see him as a loner, and of course having the characteristic of being shy around women, but at the same time he is also vengeful. And given that Geese is alive in the KOF timeline, as very likely that the King of Fighters timeline is way before Real Bout Fatal Fury 1. That means the Rock story in 15 would be more of a revenge story, considering that Rock was indeed kicked to the curb by Geese as a child. So it's likely him wanting revenge against him. So in theory, I think it's very likely he knew that Terry did fought Geese once, but Geese's first defeat didn't exactly kill him. So I think in theory, most likely it's Rock wanted to be the one to get to Geese first before Terry does. So at least that way he'll be the one to kill Geese instead. At least that's what I hope for in his story of KOF 15. Upon watching everybody else's reaction video on the KOF 15 DLC video, I'm surprised that the vast majority of these viewers, while they know who Rock Howard is, because he is a highly demanded character to be in the roster, and rightfully so, it's amazing how some people don't even know who Gato and B. Jenny are. Because the thing is, as I mentioned, Gato and Jenny, they were last playable in King of Fighters 11, and in the 3D games, which is King of Fighters Maximum Impact, both Maximum Impact 2 and the Japan-only Maximum Impact Regulation A, B. Jenny is playable in that game. In fact, in Maximilian Dude's reaction video, he does remember the fact that she was playable in King of Fighters 11, but doesn't know if there's a 3D model until somebody actually made a mention of her in Maximum Impact. And the fact that the rest of other viewers that saw the reaction video never heard of Gato or Jenny yet, well, that kind of brings up a theory of mine that I've thought about a long time ago, in which, you see, ever since the release of Street Fighter 4 in 2008, which jump-started what YouTuber Stumblebee would put it as the renaissance of fighting games, it was also in that very same renaissance that the fighting game community is rather, I guess you could say, split might be the good word, and each continent would have a bigger fan base of certain fighting game companies than the other. In fact, that's also what I spoke about with two good friends of mine, Dragon Kirito and Fairy LaFay. By the way, shout out to both y'all. One love to you guys. Can't wait to see y'all again soon. In fact, they agree with me that, okay, North America, in this case, US and Canada, when it comes, sure, in North America, there are some fans of SNK fighting games, myself, Dragon Kirito, and Fairy LeFay included. However, when it comes to the fighting game community as a whole, content-wise, North America is easily spoiled by Capcom, Bandai Namco, and to some extent, and more recently, Arc System Works, because of games like Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, DBZ Fighters, and very likely the upcoming re-release of Persona 4 Arena Ultimax. Whereas in South America, the fan base of SNK Playmore is very strong there. That, along with, ironically, NetherRealm Studios. And the reason why I say ironically is because, see, NetherRealm, and back in the day when they were part of Midway, the game Mortal Kombat is made here in North America, but it actually garnered more fan base over there in South America, which is definitely a stark contrast. Now take that with a grain of salt, but that's basically the theory I've had for a long time, and in my own personal opinion, I think it still happens today. Like right now, North America still plays both Street Fighter V and Tekken 7, even though Tekken 7's netcode really sucked. Whereas nations in South America like Mexico, Peru, Guatemala, SNK is more prominent there. Yeah, fancy that, right? And the other thing about King of Fighters 15 is that I find the slogan "Shatter all expectations" to be very misleading. And the reason why I say this is because when you're saying "shatter all expectations," and this is something that the YouTuber that I discovered, named Chris Lotus, actually made a point on the character roster, or in this case the base roster I should say, because he does make a good point on the fact that 90% of the current roster in King of Fighters 15 is more or less cut and paste from King of Fighters 14, just giving them a graphical overhaul, some new techniques, and new climax specials. That's very much it. Usually these are the Gen Zers, the Generation Zers, that only started playing King of Fighters for the first time, or if King of Fighters 14 was their ever first King of Fighters game. In fact, going back a little bit to the whole fighting game community fan base, if you remember when Terry Bogard was introduced as a DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I can imagine that so many people were scratching their heads as to who Terry Bogard is. And of course, said people who are scratching their heads most likely are the Generation Zers that have played only Smash Brothers in their lives and almost nothing else. If anything, if they had put Team Garo into the base roster to begin with, not to mention add some new characters that we never seen before, or maybe experiment as to how they're gonna work into the KOF mythos, then maybe that's one good way to actually live up to the slogan, shatter all expectations. But I don't know, they gotta come up with a much better slogan than that, just to make us not feel too overly anticipated on it. Even though the DLC trailers have very much sold us on it. Just saying, you know. But either way, that's just my personal thoughts on this. But I'm still gonna get the game anyway. And it was actually a hard one for me to choose. And the reason why I say this because this month has a lot of great games coming. I mean, the day after King of Fighters' actual release date, that's when Horizon Forbidden West comes out on PS4 and PS5. And then I think later this month also, Elden Ring comes out. And that's another game I actually want to try out soon. But I'll have to put those on hold because, well, let's just say I'm trying not to spend that much. And the fact that I still have a lot of games right here on my shelf that I have a huge backlog for. Not to mention games on my Switch that I still gotta beat. My digital stuff that are in my PS3 and 4 that I still gotta play. Some more games I gotta review and stuff. Yeah, I have so much on my plate. I just don't think I have the time. But one thing I hope for Horizon Forbidden West as well as Elden Ring, if both of those games don't have any online achievements, then at least I'm good for now. Because, see, that's the other thing about me when it comes to the games I play. That if a game has online achievements, I would scratch those out of the list first. So that way, when it comes down to just the offline stuff, I could just take my time and just defeat them on my leisure whenever I get a chance. I mean, that's what I did with Mortal Kombat 11. I took care of the online stuff first before I go on with the story. That's today's episode of Real Talk. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you like this video, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so yet. You're more than welcome to follow me on social media. And feel free to also share my video and other contents in my channel with others that may be interested. Your support will be greatly appreciated. Until then, this has been Musashi X, and I bid you all farewell. Take care, and stay tuned.